Hi everyone, welcome. My name's Lindsay Monal, and today we're going to be practicing a hip-focused yin yoga class. I'm in my brain all day. I've been calling this our Hips Don't Lie class. Actually, fun fact, my mom is from the same town in Colombia as Shakira, so the more you know. So this is a Shakira-inspired yin yoga class. You can grab 2 blocks, 2 blankets, a bolster, and join me on your mat when you're ready. If you need to dim the lights in your space or light a candle or close the door and tell your family to leave you alone for this next hour, I encourage you to do so and just set up your space in a way that feels comfortable for you. When you're ready, you can join us on the mat, sitting just in a comfortable cross-legged position. If it feels better for you to start lying down on your back, you're welcome to do that now. And when you're ready, just starting to come into your space here. If it feels okay, you can allow the eyes to close. Relax the shoulders down the back. Relax your jaw, soften the muscles in your face, lengthening through the whole spine. Let your hips be heavy as they ground into the floor. Your legs, your feet, supported by the earth beneath you. And as you're ready here, just taking an opportunity to check in with yourself, noticing how you're feeling without a right way to feel. So in this class today, we're going to be focusing on the hips, which are the biggest joint in our body, and kind of become the dumping ground for posturally, right? When we're sitting in chairs all day long, a lot of tension or stress might be held in the hips. And just how in every cell of our body, we're holding on to experiences, emotions. The hips kind of are notorious for holding on to that stuck energy, with Savasana chakra, our center for emotion, as well as creativity, playfulness, sexuality, which also might bring around feelings of shame or guilt or not going with the flow of our life. So in our class today, we're going to be working on freeing up the hips, creating more space for joy, for abundance, for dancing, like Shakira, but also it might bring up some emotion as we go through this practice. So I encourage you just to be gentle with yourself as we settle here. And with your eyes closed, kind of as you're listening in and tuning into your body, you might just start by bringing your awareness to your hips, to your pelvis. And notice if you have the tendency here to kind of roll forward and that pelvis kind of feels like it's spilling toward the front, or if you're kind of hunched in the lower back, the lower spine, maybe rounding through the pelvis. And if you can imagine your pelvis like a bowl of water, see if you can align yourself so that the bowl of water is neither tilting forward or tilting back, but instead the bowl is nice and neutral. Your hips are nice and sturdy here in center. All right, so take a moment if you want to even rock a little bit forward and back and kind of play with that tilt forward and back of the hips. And then find that central meeting point. Settle there. Once again, if your eyes have opened, if you've gotten a little distracted here with my talking, come back into your body. And just feel like what it feels like to have this neutral pelvis, this neutral meeting ground here. Neither spilling forward, giving your energy away, nor kind of tilting back, reserving your energy or holding it in. Instead, you're in a balanced state where water, this element of Savasana chakra, can kind of flow easily in and out. Bringing your awareness here into the hips, let's start to take a few deep breaths down into this space. If it feels useful, you might even place your hands at your hips or over your thighs just to start to draw your energy there. Let's take a full breath in. Complete breath out. Another big inhale. And an exhale, letting go. So this energy center, again, related to creativity, emotion, playfulness, joy, the sweetness of life. If there is an intention in there, maybe related to that, cultivating a playfulness, a joy, spaciousness to flow towards the things that you like and away from the things that you dislike. You might set that intention here today for practice. Or if there's something else that you're working on, another reason that you came to class today, you might set that intention for yourself here, just making a little note in your mind's eye. Let's take another full breath in together. Exhale, sigh it out. You can bow your head to your heart, bow down to your hips, just honoring this space of sacredness, of intention, of purpose here. And when you're ready, just gently fluttering the eyes open, come back to the space. So we're going to start our practice today with butterfly stretch. And you can do this a number of different ways. I'll just slide up here to demonstrate. You might do it without any props to start. So maybe you're just sitting on the ground, soles of the feet touch, knees wide, and folding forward here. Right? That might be one option. If you kind of notice that you had the tendency at the beginning to round and kind of dump into the lower back, coming up to sit on a blanket is a nice option here. That way you're a little bit taller, a little bit kind of prouder in your seat, and then you can fold forward from there. And then some other options kind of as you're gathering yourself down. If you're pretty close to the floor, you might allow the forehead to rest on a block as you fold forward, or you might even build a little ramp for yourself and allow one cheek to rest on either side, right? And this ramp can be at any height setting if you're choosing to do the ramp. Okay, good. So I've got my gang here of students ready to explore their hips, maybe cry a little bit, maybe dance a little bit, whatever's coming up. So take your time to get set up in whatever variation feels useful to you. Yeah, if there's any discomfort under the ankles, you can sit up completely on the blanket as well. And then when you're ready, just starting to fold forward any amount. And in these first few moments of the stretch, if there's a little bit of wiggling that needs to happen or adjusting that needs to happen as you settle in, you're welcome to do that here. Good. And you can rest your forehead straight down on that bolster if you've got it, or maybe you turn one cheek to the side. If you can't even reach the bolster, you don't need to use it at all. So maybe just practice just like folding forward whatever amount you can here. Yeah, beautiful. And you can close your eyes and just allow yourself to settle. All right, so the props in yin aren't mandatory like they might be in a restorative class, for example. Instead, they're here just to help us find a little bit of softness. But if you're at home, maybe you don't have these props that we have here in the studio, you don't really need the props to do any of these postures, right? It's all about working within your own body's limits. The props are just there as a support, but they're not mandatory here. So wherever you are, starting to find a little bit of stillness or softness. Within this first minute of the stretch, maybe there's a little bit of wiggling or adjusting you need to do. Maybe taking a fuller inhale to lengthen through the spine, a deeper exhale as you hinge forward from the hips. And just start to become aware of those areas that you're feeling the sensation, right? Hopefully the hips don't lie theme has kind of tipped you off as to where you might be feeling this today. And you might even just take a mental note here to explore, how does this first posture in the hips feel? And then towards the end of class, you'll start to notice, how do the hips feel after a few different postures? Wherever you are, full breath in. Exhale, let it go. And just continue here, breathing fully, completely, sending your awareness down into the hip space. Finding any amount of softness here. You might even begin to just round forward through the shoulders or the head, if that feels good. Just kind of curling in towards yourself. Breathing down into the space. Can you relax the jaw, the muscles in the face, any of the tension that might have been building up here as you're opening into this sensitive area? Let's take a deep breath in. Full breath out. If you were resting over a bolster, you might plant your hands on the ground and gently begin to walk yourself back up. And slowly here, you might take your hands to the outsides of the knees, fold them together like a book. And then you're welcome here to take any movements or adjustments that feel good. So maybe hands come behind you. You can do a little windshield wiper of the legs side to side. You might be called just to lay down on your back or extend your legs forward and fold or stretch in any way. Taking any movements here. Right? So between all the postures today, I'm going to give you a minute where there's no rules, nothing you have to do. You're just welcome to move intuitively, kind of seeing what your body needs to do after that, right? Because we're holding these postures for a few minutes at a time, and that might bring up some feeling or some sensation, some tingling, right? So you just want to honor your body's needs afterward and use this as a practice of just connecting with your own intuition, your own intention internally, seeing what you need here. Really nice. Full breath in. Exhale. Okay. So for our next stretch, we're going to extend the legs long in front. We're going to be doing half shoelace, so just one shoelace at a time here. You'll start with the left leg, bending it in toward the chest, and you're going to cross it over the right, and you're going to allow it to come kind of onto that pinky side edge of the foot, and then allow this knee to kind of relax over the opposite leg, right? And that could be at any height. Maybe this is already too much. If it is, you can do something like a figure 4 crossing, or even just foot coming to the inside of the thigh. But if you can, bringing the leg over, and we're going to start to walk the hands forward any amount, folding here. And now for me right away, it's like My leg is on fire here. Right, so I might stay right here. This one's kind of a tricky one with props because there's not really a clear way to do it, so you'll have to do a bit of exploring. Sometimes doing a little Stonehenge type of shape is helpful with the 2 blocks on a higher height setting, a bolster in front, and then giving yourself a space for your forehead to rest, or even a little shelf for yourself to hang out. Sometimes a bolster hooked on the foot, folding over might feel nice, maybe blocks under the arms here, right? So it's going to be a little exploration. Your body might be very different. Maybe the props are just distracting to you, right? Maybe you don't need them. You can allow the arms just to hang over blocks and just fold forward. Again, the props aren't as important as it is that you find a stretch or sensation in the body, okay? So when you're ready, we'll start again. Legs extended long in front. Hug the left knee in, cross it over. You can roll onto that pinky side edge of the left foot, and as you're ready, start to fold forward any amount here. Right, and same thing here. You might even reach back behind you, kind of grab the flesh out from underneath your sitting bones so you can start to hinge forward at the pelvis. And think about staying nice and long to start, and then starting to fold forward any amount. All right. Really nice, everyone. So settling here, relax your jaw, the muscles in your face. Let go of any frustration that might be coming up. If you're feeling like you should be able to go further or should be able to stretch deeper. Instead, just invite yourself into this moment, this opportunity, observing where you feel the stretch here. Maybe you're feeling it on kind of that outside edge of the hip, or instead maybe it's somewhere through the hamstrings, back of the extended leg, the lower back, wherever it is. These yin postures kind of have a magic about them where it'll find the area that you haven't stretched in 10 years. No matter which shape you're in, it kind of invites you into those little crevices of pockets of spaces that need a stretch or need some awareness. So wherever that is for you in the body, just inviting yourself to breathe, to soften into that space. In these last few breaths here, can you send all your attention, all your breath down into that area? You feel the sensation just fully releasing in. And then once you're ready, you can gently and slowly start to guide your way back out of the posture. If you want to move the props out of the way, again, take any stretches or movements here, if that just means laying down or twisting or folding or whatever it is for you here. Just honoring that. Taking what you need. Just take a full breath in. Complete breath out. Jen, I'm going to give you this blanket to just be up a little bit higher because I think it'll help you fold a little better. And that way your hips are just a little higher, and then you'll have a little more space to kind of like round and yeah. All right. So whenever you're ready, we're going to take that over to the other side. So legs, again, will start extended in front, nice and long. And if you are sitting up on that blanket or bolster, you might just like wiggle around or reach beneath you to kind of get onto the sturdy part of your pelvis. We'll bring the right leg in, cross the right leg over. You can kind of shimmy it out toward the side, roll onto that outside edge of the right foot, and then as you're ready, folding forward any amount. And again, props are unnecessary unless they're necessary. So no need to fumble if you're feeling like you're doing too much to get yourself settled. Just forget about the props. Allow yourself just to come into the shape. And time and gravity will do all the work they need to do here if the prop setup isn't really working for you today. Sometimes just feels nice, even with just blocks under the forearms, eyes closed as you allow yourself to start to settle here. Really nice. So I want to talk a little bit about this word I keep saying, Savasana chakra. It's our second chakra, our sacral chakra. Translates to sweetness or the abode of self. The element associated with this center is water. So that's why it sometimes gets a bad rap of hip openers making you want to cry, right? It's like we're opening the floodgates, the barricade or the bridge, whatever you want to call it. Right, so as we start to settle into this area, it's associated with our emotional selves, our creative selves, right? It's in our development, the first time we start to connect with our sense of likes and dislikes, flowing toward the things that we like, flowing away from the things that we don't like. It's our tastes, our preferences. It also has to do with our sexuality, our creative energy, right? So whether or not we're willing to jump up on the dance floor and be seen and express ourselves creatively, or maybe we're a little bit stuck here in the hips, not willing to shake it around, right? And neither one of those is good or bad, but we're working in this practice to start to find balance in this energy center, right? When our sacral chakra is balanced, we're not overindulging in the things that we like. We're not restricting ourselves on things that we like saying, we can't have any sugar for 90 days or something wild, right? We're allowing ourselves to indulge in the things that we like without overdoing it. And so here in the hips, as you start to breathe, as you start to settle, just starting to connect with this energy. Breathing into this space, maybe visualizing water or even the color orange, often associated with this area. And using all this information you're getting, not only from what I'm saying here, but also what information you're pulling from the body. What do you feel here? What do you observe? What's coming up for you as you breathe into this space? Let's take a big deep breath in. Full sigh out. Just letting go here. And when you're ready, just gently begin to guide your way back up. You can unravel the legs in your own time. Wiggle it out, shake it out, move it out in any way that you need to here. So we've done quite a bit of forward folding already. One more fold coming up, but sometimes in between laying down or laying back, even just leaning back a little bit might feel nice to allow some space to be created here in the front of the hips. Whatever your body's asking you to do, just honoring that. Breathing deeply here. Full breath in. Complete breath out. Okay. When you're ready here, we're going to come into our next shape, forward fold called Dangling, Uttanasana in classical yoga. I like to bring blocks underneath the hands here for this forward fold. So you're going to straighten your legs any amount. You're welcome to keep a gentle bend here. You can allow your hands to rest on those blocks at any height level, and then just gently start to hinge forward at the hips. And you'll notice here that I'm keeping a gentle bend in my knees because for me, I have pretty tight hamstrings, and straightening out and locking out in the knees just forces me to round through the spine. So by keeping a little bend and starting to connect my torso to my thighs, I'm creating more space in the back body for myself to fold, and eventually, as I create space, my legs can start to straighten a little bit more. And then maybe the hands come down onto blocks a little bit lower. I can allow my chin to tuck toward my chest and start to fold here, allowing the head to fully release and let go. All right, so we'll be here for a few minutes, just like the other stretches. So take your time getting set up and settled here. It's nice to start with those blocks on that high height setting, just until you can figure it out. Good. And you might start feet about hip distance apart. You can bend your knees pretty generously and then hinge forward at the hips. And first think about connecting your torso, your belly, to your thighs. So find that connection, whatever amount of bend that you need here. And then as you're ready, start to straighten out the legs any amount, still keeping that connection of the thighs to the belly. Once you're here, let your head go fully. Tuck your chin all the way down toward your chest. Imagine your head heavy like a bowling ball. And you can use the hands on those blocks if you like it. If you don't like it, maybe grabbing for opposite elbows here, allowing the head to round down and fold, maybe even inviting a little rock from side to side as you start to find this shape here. You can take any variation with the arms, the hands, the blocks. Starting to feel what's happening here, maybe in the hamstrings, maybe through the back of the low back or the hips, maybe even in the front of the hips. And you let your head go fully down. Imagine the head, you had like a marker on the crown of your head, and you can draw little circles on the ground. Just see how that can really let your head go. You can relax your jaw, maybe take a big sigh here. Or even fluttering out the lips to let the mouth soften. Head is heavy, tuck it down toward your chest. Knees remain bent any amount. You can even play with the placement of the weight in your feet, rocking forward and back a bit as you allow yourself to fold over your legs here. And take a deep breath in. Complete breath out. Each exhale, let yourself release something a little more. Letting go. Full breath in. Complete breath out. If your hands are on blocks or the floor, you might play now just with bending one knee, straightening the other leg, staying in your fold here, and maybe trying the other side, bending one leg, folding forward, straightening out the other leg. Just kind of pedaling here, creating some space. One leg at a time. Full inhale. Complete exhale. Walk the feet about as wide as your mat. Then bend a little, rock from side to side. And as you're ready, we're slowly going to lower ourselves down, hips down to Malasana, our low squat pose. And so again, this is a posture maybe you need props for, maybe you don't. And I'll kind of guide you through whether or not you might need them. If you're squatted down and pretty comfortable, want to hang out here, palms at heart center, using the elbows to kind of press into your thighs, you're welcome to stay here. Option to sit up on a block. This will make it much comfier. That'll give you a little bit more stability. If you're finding that your heels aren't able to rest on the floor comfortably, grabbing a blanket and folding it maybe once in half or even less if you don't need as much height, and allowing your ankle or your heels to rest down. And again, block can still happen here. That'll give you just a little more space if you don't have quite the flexion in the ankles. Pressing the elbows into your thighs, start to open your chest, lift your heart up, lifting through the crown of the head. Good. Right, and maybe your Malasana is quite high, right? Maybe you're not even on the ground. If you're here, that's okay. If it feels too unsustainable to try this posture at home and you're just not feeling it, you could come onto the back and take a happy baby. Right. Taking your time here, you can close the eyes if that feels good. Let's take a full breath in. Complete breath out. Relax the jaw. Release your shoulders down your back. Allow yourself to settle and to soften here. And you soften here, letting go of that resistance, of that fighting the posture. Allow yourself to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Notice where you feel the sensation, what's happening here. Full breath in. Complete breath out. As you're ready here, you might place your hands down on the ground in front of you, and then slowly start to lift your hips back up, coming back to that forward fold for a moment. Might feel nice here. Releasing over long legs. You might hang here for a few moments. When you're ready, you can start to make your way back onto the ground. We're going to come to lay onto our backs here in your own time. When you arrive, maybe you just start in a constructive rest, walking your feet as wide as the mat. Let your knees knock into one another. Just taking a few deep breaths here. Allow your shoulders to release into the ground. Maybe drawing the shoulder blades together beneath you and pressing them into the earth. You can tuck your chin towards your chest just a little bit to lengthen through the back of the neck, the back of the head. A full breath in. Complete breath out. Another big inhale. Exhale, letting go. As you're ready here, slowly walk your feet back in so they're about hips width distance apart. You're going to take a little figure 4 stretch here. go ahead and cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh, coming to that figure 4 stretch. You're welcome to stay right here with that right foot grounded on the floor. Or if you'd like, you can start to pick up that right knee, reach your hands through and around for the back of the right hamstring or over the top of the right shin, and allow yourself to hang here for a few moments. If you'd like to add little wiggles or rocks from side to side, you're welcome to do so. And maybe even use that left elbow, that left forearm to gently press the left hip away from your body. Wherever you are, allow the eyes to close, the jaw to soften. And just observe the sensation you might be feeling through that left hip here. You can allow that right leg to relax any amount. Not working too hard here again, just allowing gravity to do its thing. Take some deep breaths down into the hips, down into the area where you're feeling the stretch or sensation. Can you find any softness in the arms or shoulders if you're really gripping or working here too hard? Let's take a full breath in. Complete breath out. We're going to keep this crossing of the right leg, or sorry, is it the left leg? The left leg over the right here. And I'm going to give you a few options. We're coming toward twisted roots now, which is grabbing or wrapping that left leg around and maybe behind the right leg. So maybe you're hinging the left toes behind the left ankle. And then we're going to come into a twist in the lower body, dropping the legs over towards the right side. Arms come out into a T shape or cactus shape on the floor. That can be a lot, so you can stay just with the legs crossed one on top of the other, maybe not hooking that left foot behind the right, or maybe you stay in this kind of figure 4 shape and just allow the legs to drop over toward the side so that that left foot plants on the ground. You can use your right hand here to gently press the left leg away from you. So those are options 1 and 2, either twisting the legs, wrapping them around each other. Number 2 is staying in that figure 4, dropping that left foot to the ground. Or option 3, a little bit of a gentler supine twist. Let the knees stack one on top of another. Arms come out into that T shape or cactus shape on the ground. You can gaze over that left shoulder here. All right, so choose your adventure here in your twist. Really nice. And so Patrick's grabbed a cushion to slide between his knees. He's doing that supine twist variation, which is a great option for you if you're feeling like you want a little more spaciousness, a little more softness in the body. See if you can try to get that left shoulder to release toward the earth here. If it's far from the ground, sliding a blanket underneath that left shoulder might feel nice. Gaze can be up at the ceiling or over that left shoulder. And you can have both arms extended wide in a T shape or cactus, or maybe you take that right hand on top of the left leg that's coming across the body and just use that to help support it in releasing toward the earth. Really nice. You can allow your eyes to close here if that feels good. Just allowing yourself to settle here. Take a deep breath in, a full breath out. As you're ready here, just slowly start to unwind, unravel. You can roll onto your back, uncross the left from the right. You might need to readjust your hips on the ground, find center, find neutral. And then as you're ready, just taking any stretches or movements that feel good. Maybe you just want to stay rested with the knees bent on the floor, the feet on the floor. Maybe you want to straighten out, lengthen out into Savasana or another shape. Maybe your body's asking to hug the knees toward the chest and rock from side to side. Any one of these variations is more than welcome here. Just taking what you need. Take a full breath in. Exhale. When you're ready, rebend the knees, plant your feet on the floor if they're not there already. You can walk your feet just under your knees, finding a neutral place for your legs to land, about hips width distance apart. And this time we'll cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh, coming to that figure four shape. Energetically, just feel the opening of that right hip out toward that right side. You're welcome to stay right here with the left foot grounded on the earth. Or if you'd like, you can start to hug those knees in toward the chest, reaching through and around for the back of that left thigh or shin. If you're hanging there and you feel like the foot is out in space and you don't like it, you can place a block underneath that foot. Otherwise, just settling here. Allow your shoulders to relax on the ground, back of the head, back of the neck, nice and long, releasing into the earth or that blanket. What information are your hips giving you here? Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. When you're ready, we'll start to make our way into twisted roots. So maybe you're sliding that right leg completely over the left, like you're crossing your legs in the seat, and then dropping both knees over, maybe hooking that right ankle, that right foot behind the left as you drop the knees over. Maybe you keep that same figure 4 shape in the legs and then drop the legs over so that right sole of the foot just lands on the ground. Or maybe you bend both knees, bring your arms out into a cactus shape, just letting the knees stack one on top of another. Great. And even if that right shoulder is off the ground, that's okay, right? We're using just gravity and time to allow ourselves to open, to twist deeper. This could be a big stretch, even up into the shoulder or along the spinal column, anywhere. Or maybe you're feeling it most in the hips, especially if you're in one of those kind of twisted variations with the hooking of the leg on top of the other. Whichever variation you're in, just take a little scan head to toe. Notice if there's any places where you're really holding or working or resisting hard here. And see if you can allow yourself to soften and settle. Even in the discomfort, nothing lasts forever. Right? So just inviting yourself to settle, to soften, telling your body you'll be okay here. as you're ready here, just taking a deeper breath in, a fuller breath out. Slowly, mindfully begin to unravel, unwinding. Draw your legs back through center. Move any props out of your way. Unhook the legs from one another. Readjust your hips. Maybe extend your legs long or hug your knees in. Whatever your body is asking you for here. Listening to your own inner wisdom, your own intuition here. Let's take a full breath in, complete breath out. When you're ready, coming to lay down on your back, just one last little posture before we make our way to Savasana. You can do this with a block or a bolster. I like the bolster because we have them, so we might as well use them. But we're going to come into bridge pose here, and we're going to use the bolster underneath the hips. So you're going to take that bolster. It's best to do this starting from lying on your back rather than sitting up and doing it, because you're going to kind of fumble a bit. But you're going to reach beneath you, grab that bolster, slide it underneath your glutes, the back of your pelvis, and then allow yourself to settle here, right? And if you've got a blanket underneath your body, you don't want it underneath your shoulders, just underneath the round back of your head, keeping space for the neck to stay nice and long. You might not even need a blanket here under the head. You're going to keep your knees bent, feet planted on the ground, and find your bridge pose here. All right, it might take a little work to get it there, that bolster. And you don't necessarily want it under the lumbar spine, right? Instead, you want it underneath the pelvis, under the tailbone, the glutes, supporting the back of the pelvis here. All right, so taking your time, finding the shape. Draw the shoulder blades together, let them release into the ground. Arms might rest just beside your body with the palms facing up. Or maybe they rest on your abdomen, over your hips, wherever feels good. You're welcome to stay here with both legs, both feet grounded on the ground. Or you might start to play here, maybe extending just the left leg long on the floor. You might bring your arms up overhead into a V shape over your head, or a cactus shape bending at the elbows. And just notice what it feels like to stretch through that front line of that left hip. Right, we've done kind of a 360 around the hips today. Lots of forward folding and flexion in the front line of the hip. So it might feel nice here to feel this extension through the front of the hip, the psoas. Take a deep breath in. Complete breath out. Left heel nice and heavy on the ground. If this is too much, just keeping the left leg bent, the foot planted on the floor. If you're happy here, maybe you want to add a little more sensation. You can start to bend the right knee, hug the right knee in toward the chest, and reach the arms over that right shin. Again, no need to add this on if you are happy in the last variation. Just giving you some choices to make here. Right? Practicing making choices for yourself that honor your needs, your desires. Take a full breath in, complete breath out. If you had that right knee in toward the chest, place the right foot back down on the ground. If you had that left leg extended, bend the left knee, plant the foot on the ground. Maybe you're feeling like you're slipping off the bolster here. Readjust the bolster so it's under the back of the pelvis. And just take a moment here in center and bridge to breathe and reconnect. If you'd like to, if you did so on the other side, you could start to extend that right leg nice and long on the floor. Let the heel be super heavy as you feel that big stretch, that big opening over the front of the right hip. Arms can come up into a cactus shape with the palms up on the floor, or maybe you stretch the arms long overhead in a V shape, just reaching up long through the whole front line of the body, feeling your heart lifting, a subtle back bend here, just feeling the opening through the front line of the body. Relax the jaw, soften the muscles in your face. Let your whole body be nice and heavy here. As you breathe and lengthen with little effort. Option here to bend the left knee, hug the left knee in toward the chest. Reach the hands over that left shin. If you like, if you don't like, don't do it. Take a full breath in. Complete breath out. Another big inhale. Exhale, let it go. If you've got the left leg, can you find some softness in the arms, the shoulders, the head? Take a deep breath in. Complete breath out. And slowly release the left leg, the left foot down to the floor. Re-bend the right knee. Breathe deeply here. When you're ready, we'll make our way towards Savasana. Might feel good just to gently lift the hips, push that bolster down underneath the thighs, the back of the knees, and allow your legs to extend nice and long. Arms can come out beside you. Maybe you slide a blanket underneath your head or cover yourself with the blanket here. And if you need help getting covered, let me know. You might just place the blanket over the hips here after all this big hip opening today. Taking a deep breath in, full breath out. I'm going to come around and offer a little hands-on adjustment here. I've got some essential oil as well. And today feels especially pertinent to mention it has the smell of orange in it, right? Orange again, related to the sacral chakra, Savasana. A sense of sweetness here. Just breathing deeply, observing the smell, the sensation of laying down here. If there are things in your way touching your hands, let yourself find space, allowing yourself to come into a more boundless form like water, able to spread. I'm just going to adjust your blanket here. Is it all right if you pick up your head for a moment? Let's get this folded nicely for you. A little more stable. As you're settling here in Savasana, you relax the jaw, soften the muscles in your face. Lengthen through the whole spine. Let your hips be heavy, legs and feet roll open naturally, just finding that neutral position here, taking any final adjustments you need to make yourself even 5 to 10% more comfortable. And here in your resting position, can you start to observe the breath? Maybe visualizing the breath like water, like a warm ocean wave. Each inhale brings in relaxation. Each exhale takes away any tension in the body or mind. Feel these waves for a few moments. Inhaling, drawing in relaxation. Exhaling, releasing away any tension, any holding, just settling here. Each inhale brings in relaxation. Each exhale takes away any tension in the body or mind. And slowly here, you might begin to deepen your breath. Just taking a fuller inhale, a deeper breath out. Again, like a warm ocean wave, each inhale brings in relaxation. Each exhale washes away any tension. Each inhale brings in new energy, new life force. Each exhale washes away any doubts, any fears, any shame. Inviting yourself to flow more freely through your life. In your movement, you might start to invite little wiggles through your fingers and your toes. A little rock from your head, side to side. You might start to bend one knee, bend the other, hug the knees in toward your chest here. Give yourself a big squeeze, a big rock from side to side. Rolling on the back body, massaging the hips. As you're ready, roll over onto one side, resting for a moment in the fetal position, the shape indicative of new beginnings. And when you're ready, moving slowly, keeping your eyes closed, you can start to gently press your way back up toward a comfortable seat. You've got that bolster there if you want to sit up on the bolster or any prop around you. And when you arrive, might feel good to take some little circles through the hips, circles through the spine and neck in one direction, and then maybe around in the other direction here. And like we did at the beginning, maybe rolling a little forward, a little back on the hips, and then eventually resting in center, where again that pelvis isn't tipping forward, the water isn't flowing out in the front or the back. Instead, you feel that centeredness of that bowl here, sitting bones rooted into the ground, pelvis neutral, spine tall. Draw your shoulder blades together, release them down your back. Allow your head to float above your heart, heart to float above the hips. Take a moment here to observe how you feel without a right way to feel. Present and aware for any sensations in the body or mind. When you're ready, I invite you to gather both hands to touch in front of your compassionate heart center in a prayer shape, Anjali Mudra. You can bow your head to your heart. Thank yourself for showing up today, being elevated through yoga. The light in me sees and is the same light in each of you. Namaste. When you're ready here, you might gently flutter the eyes open, coming back to your space. Maybe you take a little look around, observing the space around you. Gaze back up at the screen. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. Take care.